Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Samp Professor and the Samp. I am your host, Bobby Sampson. Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans from around the world, it's time to kick off another edition of Professor and the Samp. You know him as a man with the history, the insight, the opinions that never pull a punch, whether it's WWE, AEW, the classics, or the latest headlines. He's always ready to break it down and also fuck up all the bears in the forest. So grab your notebooks because, ladies and gentlemen, class is officially in session. Ding, ding, it's Professor Bear.
Yes. Thank you, my friend. This has been a real interesting week of wrestling. There's a lot of good things going on, and I'm telling you, I've this has been exciting, really.
Yeah, I know it's been exciting. We were coming off the heels of a better than expected, I would say, and a lot of people might agree with us or me, anyways, at this point with that statement saying that SummerSlam delivered overall. If I'm combining both nights together and giving it a grade, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. And majority of that seven's coming from night two. But night one did what it was supposed to do. It gave us the prelims and the build up to the actual Summer Slam that happened on Sunday. The energy was different from Saturday to Sunday, I feel, just comparing the two crowds, comparing the energy, comparing the output, comparing just the general vibe of the show. Bear, what did you see?
Um, Honestly, I think they got back to being WWE, and when I say that, I think what their output for the show was tremendous. Um, did I necessarily think it was the greatest show? No, but
No,
it definitely wasn't. And a lot of people may get pissed at me for saying, but it wasn't WrestleMania, and WrestleMania was really not that great this year.
no.
So I would definitely give them a thumbs up for the attempt, what they did. I, a lot of times when I look at shows too, I have to take my cynicism out of it because I watch so much wrestling that sometimes I don't give it a fair shake. And
This comes with the territory, Bear. It's kind of like if you're a nurse, I bet the nurse in the first 2 years of her job is so gung ho. She wants to do everything. And she's emotionally invested. He or she's emotionally invested. And then you get to a point where it becomes the norm. And that's what happens with us when it comes to wrestling. Completely
yes,
understand, right? It's
yes,
just it's hard to take off that analytical hat and just be a spectator. But what I think made SummerSlam special was the fact that no one gave it the chance and it produced.
yes.
I think a
I
lot of us went into it with preconceived ideas and notions about what we were going to get. And we've been let down so much in the last year and a half by the company, to be fair. Okay. And again, it's a combination of TKO, booking, writing, all of it all rolled up into one. But I understand, as I did an earlier show today, and Chance pointed out that tickets were only $60. So there was TKO did their part and they dropped the ticket prices. Okay. Same with Monday Night Raw. It was pretty cheap. Same with SmackDown. It was pretty cheap to get in. So, we got to call it down the middle, Bear. We
exactly.
complain about it one way, but if they're doing their part, then we know who needs to step up. And it looks like Hunter and team, after what we saw on Raw, because Raw was great too. It was a really good Raw. Something I haven't said in a long time. So the last two shows delivered. So maybe the heat is on Hunter now. Maybe the heat is on the booking and the writers and the producers behind stage because Daddy's free. And there's only a matter of time before Daddy comes back. I believe he's coming back. Okay. We won't talk about it here today because we got so much more, but I can see what they're doing. Right. Here's the one thing I'll say before we get into the show. Here's the difference between these three men. Tony Khan, Triple H book matches they want to see. Daddy used to book shit that people want to see. That's the difference. That's what I think, anyways.
Right, right.
Right. But let's get into SummerSlam. Night one opened up with a cracker of a match. Do you remember what it was, Bear? Because I'm drawing a
Yeah,
blank, man. I'm drawing a bloody blank.
it was EO
Thank
and
you.
Liv.
Io and Liv. And you know why I don't remember it? Because Liv has done such a great job of me not liking her. And when I say I don't like Liv Morgan, it's the character Liv Morgan I don't
Right.
like, not the individual. The work that she's doing is making me not like her, which is exactly what she should be hoping for. That I don't even want to do it because it's the most annoying sound. It's kind of like in Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. Do you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Well,
Oh yeah.
that's the equivalent of that, okay, to me, right? I mean, just hearing her talk, prancing around, everything she does, she's doing it so brilliantly that at the end of that match, I went, oh man, because my girl didn't win.
Well, and for me, it's not. I never had. I never had um the. I knew they could work good.
Hmm.
That was never the issue.
Hmm.
It's the problem was the sale of Liv not defending the title and the way they justified it. And it's like, man, you just this is your first television or pay-per-view or whatever defense of your title since WrestleMania. And from a booking standpoint, from a story standpoint, it's a slap in the face.
Yeah.
So and that's where I was at with the story. So I'll be the first to admit I didn't give the match a chance. I just was glad that it was over with. Um, was I disappointed that Liv won? Yes. Now it's like, okay, they're gonna throw EO in a purgatory of I don't know what we're gonna do with you now. And now people coming back that we'll get further into that when we talk about Raw, but it, it's just I legitimately did not give a damn about this match, and it's nothing towards the athletes, the ladies. It was the storyline build up to it that made me not care.
Yeah, well, I mean, the story was kind of going on for a while because I mean, she did beat her for the Queen of the Ring, and maybe that's where a lot of people might have lost interest. It's like, okay, well,
Right,
what are you going to do now? We already got the match. You know what I mean?
exactly.
In a lot of ways, we can argue that that outcome was already predestined because she already beat her, right? But that's the
Right,
wrestling analyst in us, and that's what makes
right,
our shit unfair sometimes because we can't
exactly,
be a fan and go into the match and just appreciate the match for what it was, right?
exactly.
But you know what though? I was invested in it because I am a big fan of Io Sky. I think I've already mentioned it. And I know my wife doesn't listen to the show because, like I said, if she did, she'd know she'd be on my top five list, right? And I know I would have heard about it um if that was the case, sort of a deal. So, I had no problem with the match. I thought it was fun. I thought they worked really, really well together. No issues in my opinion. Um, but yeah, I can understand where people are coming from with it and what have you. But like I said, night one served as what it was supposed to be.
Right.
Just a setup for night two, right?
And I tell you this too, I was surprised that they started the show off. I guess because I'm so formulaic that I was expecting one of the six persons tag match to start the show.
You would
And
think so,
in
right?
retrospect, I'm glad they didn't. I think I have to get again. I'm quick to judge them when they do something I feel is wrong. I got to give them credit when they do something that's right. I think they started with the right match. The energy was there. They they did the the right formula by going with the ladies first. I will say that.
Yeah, no, they did a great job with all of that there, man. I mean, I don't have any issues with it at all. Like, I mean, it was what it was. Let's talk about the Bella twins and Paige really quickly here. I told you this was gonna happen.
Yep.
Fair?
Yep. Fair. Fair. And somebody I heard this and I thought this was so appropriate. It seems like anytime when someone gets hurt, one comes back. As soon as one comes back, the other gets hurt. And I felt bad because I've never been a Bella Twins fan, but I do feel bad to the point if give them let them have a proper last run and let them go out of my vision. So
Honestly, dude,
I felt bad for Bree being hurt and having to go to the hospital.
yeah, no, honestly, I'm gonna be honest, man. I mean, I look at those two girls and I just don't see any value. I don't, honestly, like
Oh,
I'm gonna be
100%.
completely honest with you, man. What did they really do? They did nothing. Like they say they were pioneers and innovators, but you know what? All the stuff that you guys did, the girls before you already did it all.
Yeah,
And they
but
had less to work with. And the Bellas didn't really revolutionize anything. None of that happened until Becky and them showed up. And it
well,
really exposed those two. Sorry, it really exposed those two for how lackluster they truly are in the ring. And even on the
no,
mic, they just sound so crap. I'm sorry.
no, and no. I agree with you 1,001%.
Yeah.
The only thing
Thank you.
I will give them as far as what they help the business is when they didn't take women's wrestling serious. They kept a buzz going until, as I like to say, the real women's wrestlers got a chance to shine.
Right.
That's the only thing I give them.
Yeah. But no, and that's why I say what I say, right? Because I mean, I don't know what their contribution was. When I look at Lita and I look at Trish, I get excited every time they come back because I remember the things that they did in the ring. Okay. They took 3 steps forward for the ladies before anyone else did. Then the next generation came in and they kind of sputtered. It kind of went back to what it was to a certain extent. 30-second matches, nothing taking seriously. I'm sure Michelle McCool, if in her prime was a part of this generation, she would have done so much more, right? But then we go through this era of Kelly and Stacy Keebler and all these other things. This kind of reverts back to like, you're making the product, dude. The way girls used to wrestle back in the day, and I'd say this with all humility and respect, it's the equivalent of CM Punk's moonsault. Okay. Like it wasn't until 2010 onwards that we started the girls finally broke through. And that's a weird thing to say because we live in the Western world where democracy rules everything. And you would have thought these girls would have had their chance a long time ago before they
I,
actually got it.
what I look at them, they are the sports entertainment.
Yeah.
That's what they bring, and their claim to fame is. And I get why people look at them the way they do, but I don't, I won't, and that's the end of that for me.
No, but dude, you know what? Growing up as a kid, it was always said that the bathroom break of a wrestling show was the women's match. I hate to say it, but we still joke about it to this day. Oh, this is
Yeah.
the bathroom break. But honestly, a lot of the times now, these girls' matches are you have to watch them because they're so good. Sometimes
Oh
they
yeah,
outperform the men.
because it's like anything else, it's that natural evolution.
Yeah,
And I look back at the women's wrestling, it's because they were doing things, but we just didn't give them credit because we didn't take it seriously.
yeah.
And once they they made us take it seriously, all bets are off. That's why women's wrestling is where it is now.
I love
I
it.
Yeah, that's why I preach about it. That's why.
And I want to preference this as well, Bear, because I think a lot of people might say, yeah, well, they're girls in little bikinis and stuff like that. That's why you like it. Yes, that's why I like it. Absolutely. Nothing better than seeing another woman shove her face in another chick's ass. Love it. Okay. But the reality of it is, Bear, when I'm watching it, I don't think that. I'm watching
Exactly.
two athletes compete. It's kind of like bodybuilding to me, right? When I look at the human physique, I admire, like when I look at females in that are fit, I'm not breaking it down by saying I want to do this and I want to do that and I'm curling my mustache like this. I'm like, wow, look at those abs. Wow, look how symmetrical this really looks. She's working really, really hard. Those are the things that I notice. You know what I mean? Now,
No,
Sap After Dark is a different guy. We'll talk, he's right? But that's a whole different thing. But I mean, at the end of the day, I want people to realize that these girls are putting on amazing matches. And it's more evident than ever when you see them performing in Saudi Arabia, covered head to toe, minus a hijab, and still pulling off killer matches. We're in tune to the matches, right? No one's complaining that they're not coming out in little halter tops and this and that. We're commended their matches.
exactly. And I've said it many a times. I love when they go overseas because you get to take away what people want to use against them, and
Exactly.
you see them as what they are,
Like
athletes.
Liv and Io in Saudi was phenomenal,
Exactly.
right? But it didn't have the same luster at SummerSlam, A, because we already seen it so close.
Right.
And I just think people get back to their preconceived notions. But let's move on here. We had the Bloodline against LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Sola Sokoa. Solo, in my opinion, stole this match. Love it. I love what he's doing. And you know what he's saying? He's saying he loves the character he's becoming right now. This is truly who he is.
I love the build. The right team won. Um, Story wise, build wise, everything worked for me.
Yeah, well, I
Uh,
mean, as we saw on Monday Night Raw, it worked exactly into the favor of the direction that they're taking everything, right? So, I mean, it made complete sense now. And I always say this, Bear. I said it to you. I said it to Mike last on Sunday as well. Like a lot of times, we already assume what's going to happen or why did this happen? This is wrong. This shouldn't have happened. But like I say, they have a way of making it make sense at the end of the day. And the outcome of this match, showing where the future is going, what the next little while looks like. It looks like we're on the right trajectory with all these guys.
yeah.
So the right team won there, no problem there at all. All right, let's move on here. Gunther versus Nick Aldis. Now, Chad said something to me earlier this morning when we recorded, and I went back and actually took a look. No one in that stadium gave a shit about Gunther when he came out. The
No, they
crowd,
did.
the crowd was dead. Like it's almost like they buried this guy, replanted him, uprooted him, replanted him, uprooted him too many times where the fans just don't give a shit about him anymore, man. He lost that luster. And now this shows the genius of one Brock Lesnar who said, no, I don't want this guy to finish me. He saw something because he saw how they were booking him and everything. I believe that, right? Oh, breaking news. Brock officially retired today
Yes,
on
I
the Pat
heard.
McAfee show.
Yes, I heard.
So, so that's official. Now we can say he's officially retired because, like I said to you guys, and I asked you, and you guys didn't have the second guy, but now you do. There's only two guys in professional wrestling who can walk around and dictate their next move in the world of wrestling. And there was only two men. And I don't know if we'll ever see another one again. Maybe Roman, as he gets older now, as an older statesman. But man, only Brock and Andre were the only two men who could. You wouldn't know if who was going to win until they told you.
Yep.
Right? We know that with WrestleMania 3. Right up until Andre told him to slam him, Hogan didn't know if he was going to go over.
And that just shows the power of those people and their legitimacy that they can control. But it, with all that being said, they showed you where their intelligence was with the business.
No, 100%. And you saw that last night again, right? But before we get there, let's get into this Gunther Nick Aldis match. Dude, honestly, man, Nick Aldis out of the ring 3 years, look like a stud. Honestly, his physique, I don't care if the guy's taking roids or not, he probably is. But the fact of the matter is, the man looked amazing. The man looked like, the man who was carrying the 10 pounds of gold before he joined over here. You know what I mean? He could have gone to AEW, Nick Aldis, and wrestled for the last 3 years if he wanted to.
Yep.
But he knew what his dream was. He knew where he wanted to be. Everybody on that AEW roster, they can shit and say everything they want about WWE, but I guarantee if they come knocking, 90% of those people who hate would sign because they know that's where they need to be to get over fully over on a global level. Nick Aldis took the position of general manager, did an amazing job, finally got his bucket list match last night. The outcome was what we expected it to be. But man, him coming out to Oasis, I'm glad I pack extra underwear when I go to work. Because where are you? Somewhere there. There they are.
Yep.
One of my favorite bands of all time. Okay, top 3. So much that I tattooed them permanently on my body. To see one of my favorite bands, music being used as an entrance. If there was ever a moment that I felt like a little kid at wrestling again, it was right in that moment. So thank you, Nick Aldis, for that for me personally. Hearing Oasis Morning Glory was phenomenal. The match was actually pretty good. Nick held his own. He didn't look out of sorts. And I think a lot of that has to do with Gunther as well, doing his part as the dance partner to make it work. Unfortunately, Gunther won, but no one cares.
Well, and that's the thing about it. I said from the get-go, Gunther was damned if he did, damned if he didn't.
Nope.
And that's not on him. That's WWE's like you said, hey, let's warm them up. Let's cool them down. Let's warm them up. Let's cool them down. That's that issue. I never had any doubt about the match. I was so glad to see the respect they gave Nick and let people know everything he accomplished. And it was a feel good moment for myself. And honestly, the perfect dance partner. If I was a wrestler and I wanted to look good and look legitimate, yes, give me Gunther. Give me Gunther.
Yeah. For what was available to him and them, that was a great matchup. And again, I feel bad for Gunther and all of this. Again, you know what I mean? Yeah. It is one of those situations. But I want to move on here now to perhaps one of the best heels in the business today, male or female. And I'm talking about Jacy Jayne, Fatal Influence against the Bellas and Liv and Paige. Dude, we already talked about it. We saw what happened, this and that. My focus is on Jacy Jayne. This girl's phenomenal. And I will eat crow for as long as I have to. Even though I've already said it, I was wrong about her. I was wrong about her ability. I was wrong about her overall. But she's proving me wrong time and time again. And in a good way, Bear. I'm really happy about her. She is phenomenal. JC Jane, if she can keep it going, she's gonna be huge.
Yeah, she
She looks like
definitely.
a heel, man.
That's the thing too. So, and you've said this many a times, especially with her and Trick. They kept them long enough. They didn't bring them up too early. They let them simmer, they let them grow, they let them get it.
The
Because you can
psychology,
tell
all of
by
it.
their presentation, their mannerisms, their speeches, they have the total package and they can go so they can be the next big things.
Like all three of those girls are so amazing right now, honestly, man. Like Headley, Henley, and JC Jane, they just work so well together, and individually they can accomplish a lot as well if they want to. But again, it's always amazing to think that she came from a crew of Mandy Rose and Gigi Nolan, and she didn't even get Marty Jannetty status within that crew.
Yeah, she was number three, definitely.
Right. And we're the other two. And look at what she's doing. She's killing it, man. You know?
So that and then that's the thing. Every time, if you don't believe in yourself, how in the world do you think anybody else is going to believe in you? And sometimes you have to put that energy into. I don't care what you say about me. This is me.
Yeah.
I'm
No.
going to be this.
Yeah.
Despite you, with you, without you, I'm going to be this. So I definitely agree with you and give her a lot more props because, and it is funny because you made that reference. And I think sometimes the Marty Jannetty of the group, and I understand why people say that, but if I say that a little later, but yeah,
Well, I mean, it's just like anything else, right? Like you find one instance in life and that, oh, you did it so and so. You know what I
right,
mean? And
right,
unfortunately, Marty happened at a time where it was so visible and you couldn't, even if you were blind, you could see it. You know what I
right.
mean? Like he was the guy who got left out in the cold. All right. You look at the Heart Foundation, it was the Anvil who got left out in the cold.
Yeah, but see, it's something. There's something different about it because if when you bring up Brett and the Anvil, people don't go out of their way to say, "Well, you're the Anvil of the group."
But but
You're
but 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 again, exactly. But it happened at a different time where it wasn't so visual, right? Just the way he finished Marty off, and just how quickly he fell from grace, and how far he fell down. It just and how fast Sean moved,
yeah,
right? What he was able to do alone in the little time that he did it to what Marty did in that same time. You just it was hard because at least Amble was so relevant in his own little way. You know what I mean?
yeah, and that's the thing too. I think a lot of times we always look either you're going to be the greatest or the worst.
Yeah.
There's no
Like,
in
look, dude,
between.
if you think about it, the Shield, for example, if Dean Ambrose, aka John Moxley, didn't leave and become what he did in AEW, he would have been the third man out. Okay. Because honestly, at the end of the day, Seth and Roman are 1 and 2. We legitimately on night 2 got the match with number 1 and number 2 in the company. That's
Yeah,
like saying Rock versus Stone Cold.
yeah, but I agree with you there, but you said it appropriately in
Mm-hmm.
the company.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would you? I think a lot of people would argue you wouldn't be able to do that just looking at them as the athletes they are.
No, 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 100%. Right. But I mean, he had to go somewhere else to become his name. That's all I'm saying, which is
Yes,
doesn't keep him, which doesn't make him any less. If anything, he's still at that level. It just shows how great those three guys were together and
exactly,
separately. You know what I mean? I just
exactly.
don't think the yard was big enough for all three of them.
And they
And
it
Dean
happened.
did great shit on his own.
Oh yeah, that's the beauty of wrestling and being able to take your passion and your ability and knowing, okay, they're not, I can't strive the way I want to strive. I need to go to a different
That's it.
canvas.
Isn't
And
it interesting though, if you
I,
think about it? And I'm gonna research this, Bear, because I don't know if I have the answer. But show me another trio that were all world champions on the same night.
yeah, no, there hadn't been.
Right? There you go. It just shows you how good these guys were.
Yes, exactly.
Um, let's move on to probably, in my opinion, I hate to say it, the worst match of the whole weekend. And that would be the main event of CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. And the only saving grace was the run in for me. I thought this match was slow, way too slow. I think Punk was already gassed out within the first 5 minutes of the match. Um, Punk made the mistake of going for a move which he knew he couldn't land, or he flubbed it on the rope or something. Because that you just there's no coming back from that. There's nothing Punk can say. Even the commentators try to cover it up, and I'm talking about that horrible moonsault at that level of wrestling. That shouldn't be happening. I don't care how old you are. Okay, like that should happen on an indie show. That should be happening, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but that's where you work your gear, you work your move set, and mistakes should happen there. That's where it should happen, not on the biggest stage with the most eyes on you. And it just wasn't a good match, Bear. I'm sorry. I think
Well,
Cody flubbed a little bit too, but because everyone hates Punk so much, they're so focused on Punk.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. I again, this is another match that I did not give a chance. I was not invested. I didn't. I would tell you the truth. Hell, when it was on, I was doing something else. I half paid attention to it. I had no legitimate care about Punk and Cody because, again, it was damned if you do, damned if you don't mentality for me.
Hmm.
And I I think they got the win right? Yes, in a way, because it's what you said before. Cody doesn't need to be around the world title for a while.
No, he doesn't. He needs to be where Roman was for the last 2 years before he got it back.
Right. Um, but I don't want Punk. I'm sick of Punk.
Okay.
And again, like I said, I if nothing else, I try to be truthful, and again, I didn't care for. I didn't care for it because I didn't give it a chance. Now, if I go back and watch it, maybe I will give it a better shake than I did the first time because I have paid it any attention.
Yeah, I
Now,
mean, I went back. Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna say, with that being said, the Randy run in for me was like, man, I get long term storytelling, I get all of that, but from WrestleMania to now, we ain't heard, sniffed anything with Randy. He comes back, and it's like, I don't give a damn. and,
Fair enough,
and
fair enough. But if this is how we are supposed to keep him out of the title picture, this is how we do it. He needs another feud. And it makes perfect sense, Bear, because I mean, I agree, I hear what you're saying, and I'm sure there's a lot of people saying that too. But I look at it from this perspective of the fact that this is a storyline that never was finished. Okay, the brutality. If we have to go back and remember what Randy did to the guy,
yeah, no,
right? We
no,
have all that still in play. Cody got the win at Mania. You know, Orton, I guess you could say, is pretty much like Brock and Andre in the sense now that he calls his shots. He said, "I want the summer off," and he gets it because he's Randy Orton. You know what I mean? Like
right,
so he decides when he wanted to come back, and you know what? At stage of his career, neck, back, shoulders, you name it, he's got to pick his spots, right? Like his time is limited. I don't know how much more time he has. I mean, if he keeps taking 5, 6 months off a year, he's going to be around for the next 10. Like it is what it is. But when he's there, he's giving it all. And I think this is perfect because it gets Cody out of our sight that way, puts him in a different direction with Randy, and it opens the floodgates for all the other guys to kind of step up and see who's got what now. We're going to start with night 2 now because night 2 ties in exactly to where we need to get to.
Wait a minute. How in the world can we go to night 2 when we didn't finish night 1?
That was the last match of night 1.
Oba? Brock?
That was night 2 opener.
No.
Night. Oh, sorry. I apologize. My bad. My bad. I apologize. And this is what makes Professor and the Samp so beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. Even I am in class, and the professor has to correct me. I love it. Yes, you're right. So here's the one thing WWE did really, really well this weekend. They got the booking right. Thank God that this was the last match of the night. Considering what potentially could have been. I don't think anyone would have gone home happy with seeing that match. But the crowd forgot Cody and Punk, and we go right into Oba and Brock. Hell in a Cell. A lot of people saying, why a Hell in a Cell? Blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? Two things. One, I think the cell was just there to contain two big monsters because they said they didn't really use the cell. They didn't need to. The cell was the visual to hold them in. Okay. They used everything else around the ring and this and that, but that was it. The other part of that story for me, and it all makes sense now because we know Brock's officially retired. Number one, that match normally would have been the first match of the night. Right? Because Brock likes to work and go home. He doesn't like to stick around. So Brock saying, yeah, I want to be the last match. Now we know that he wanted to soak it all in. He wanted to be there backstage. He wanted to appreciate it all because we knew what was coming with him at the end of it all. Now we know. Now that we have the clearer picture. Right?
Right.
So he was there for the whole night, which is very Brock-like. When was the last time he was the main event in a show? Right? He's always a curtain jerker. In and out, in and out. That's just his philosophy. The second part of that cage for me personally was because Brock is undefeated in Hell in a Cell. That was symbolism again. The cage basically served as symbolism. It wasn't a tool. It wasn't something to be used in this instance, which is great psychology. Right? If you know, you know. Exactly. And this is what we got here in this match. Oba got some offense off in the very beginning, but most of this match after the steps scene, after that, it was all Brock. Brock threw everything at this man. He beat him up. He did F5s, German suplex, everything that would get anyone else out of there. He did everything. He even did a tribute to The Undertaker, pulled back the fourth curtain, if you want to call it that, you know, exposing the planks, showing people this is what we're actually working with, people. Here's another reminder of what we work with. It's not much. Okay, the padding outside is more than the padding in the ring. Right? And then for Oba to finish him the way he did, with a punch of the chair and the pop-up power bomb. People are saying, was that a flub? I don't know if it was a flub. Maybe he meant to hit the wood, but when you're picking up a man that's 300 pounds and you don't know what's in front of you because he's so big, he blocks your peripheral. He landed it where he landed it. So I don't see any issue with that. It was what it was. All right. But at the end of it all, that was legitimately passing of the torch.
Exactly. And again, Brock being Brock, he and again, for years I've gotten sick of Brock. Every time he pops back up, it just a knot in my stomach comes up. But I would give Brock this, as I do the same with Hulk Hogan. People know I legitimately dislike Hogan.
Brother.
But I always give Hogan his just due because he put wrestling where it is today. And just like Brock is such a cerebral, yes, and the pun was meant, uh, of wrestling genius, that he does stuff that makes the sport better.
Yeah, yeah, no, I completely agree with you, right? And we saw that again, and I've been saying it for a few years now with other guys that he's put over, and giving them the shine that they need to get to that next level. And I don't think there's any great, bottom line is this now, okay? When it comes to Obafemi, it's he, it's all up to him now, right? There's no excuses. You can't blame anyone. You can't say nothing. If Oba doesn't get over, it's because Oba didn't get over. He's been given all the tools. He's been given the biggest accolades to be successful. So now this is what I love. Now we're going to watch the future unfold. Okay. All right. Let's keep moving on here. Let's get to night 2 now properly. So we get into the first match, number 1 contender match for CM Punk's title. Sammy comes out, Finn comes out. Well, here comes Nick Aldis in his white and plaid, blue and plaid suit. He's officially general manager again. And I think the first thing he did was show a bit of humility by putting Gunther in the match, which is another big mistake. I don't know why they did that, because here comes my man. And I kept telling you guys, he's coming back. He's coming back. And sure enough, he showed up in this match. The return of KO. The look on Sammy's face is probably the best work he's done in 3 months. That was probably the best look on Sammy that I saw. The guy I felt sorry for was Finn Balor. It felt like he was just, why would you even put him in the match? He didn't need to be there. He just dragged the guy down further, in my opinion. Secondly, if Kevin Owens, spoiler alert, was going to win, then why put Gunther in there? There's no need for Gunther to be there. It just made him look worse. You just beat Nick Aldis, and
Well, now I have a different take.
Okay.
I didn't have a problem with all 4 guys. I think it was good. You helped building Finn up, that Finn hadn't been in quite a while. So I'm okay with that. Of course, I love the Sammy thing, because this just helps justice for Sammy, the rant. It gives another rant, and legitimately so, to Gunther. It's like, every time I turn around, y'all throw something at me. I had to beat your ass to get in this, and then you throw something else at me. I'm okay with that. And Kevin, because it's a fresh matchup, I'm okay. I thought this one of the few, I was like, okay, this is good. This is good. And letting Sammy take the pin was the right thing, because now this is the still, he has a legitimate beef. I just like they did with Drew. You do stuff to him, but make it so legitimate that you can truthfully argue this is right. You can see his perspective. You can, like, they did do him dirty.
Well, they did. And, I mean, that story's always going to be there, and that's what Finn's going to have to build off of, right? But then how long will it take before fans start getting annoyed with the whininess, as they'll probably, kind of challenge it that way? But hey, let's move on, because I said this man is now going to move up into the main event picture somehow. And I think they did the right thing here, man. Baron Corbin defeated Trick Williams to win the United States Championship. I think this is the right move. And I said this to Chance, and I said it to you as well. I said, why would you bring him back, Baron Corbin, just to have him lose at SummerSlam? It defeats the purpose of keeping him hot. Trick doesn't need the belt. Ironically enough, the heel in the match was more of a face than the faces were, because they were the ones cheating and, using the kendo stick and stuff like that. It's a good guy 2-on-1.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, but Baron pulled it out. He wins the title. He legitimizes the title, in my opinion, because he's been around. He's a journeyman now. He knows what he's doing. I like the character that he's taking on. It's very similar to the NXT character that he had a little bit. The lone wolf, but now the nomad sort of a deal. This opens the door for Trick now. And I'm not saying that he's going to get into it right away, but we should start seeing the evolution of Trick of moving up this ladder. I don't see Kevin Owens and CM Punk being a long program, but I see it, I see it something happening here.
So you said all of that correctly, but I didn't think about it until yesterday. This is actually better for Trick because now he can chase. Trick is a chaser,
Well, that's it.
and chasing the U.S. title to regain it, I think will do more wonders for him than putting him in the world title picture right now.
I completely agree with you, my friend. I think again, Trick Williams is in that position that he was nurtured and he was brought up in the right way. And the one person down in NXT land right now that I see they're doing the same thing with is Jada Parker. So I'm really curious to see how she comes up when they do call her up. But hey, let's move on. Interim Women's Championship ladder match. Charlotte Flair, Jade. Who else was in here?
Um,
Sorry, here we go. Pardon me. Tiffany Stratton, Chelsea Green, Charlotte Flair, Jade Cargill, Lash Legend, all collided in this interim women's title match to crown an interim champion, I guess, until Rhea gets back. I'm a huge Rhea fan. You know this, right?
yes.
My two hall passes are Rio. I combined their names together. Rio. Shit, I said both of them at the same time. There you go.
Everybody got fantasies, my friend.
Well, I mean, before them, it was Elizabeth Hurley and Selma Hayek in 1999, right? And I held on to that till 2022. So, right. Congratulations to my girl. And I'm not saying that because she's from my side of Canada, not the East Coast, not Middle Canada, not what they call Western Canada. We're talking about the Pacific coast of Canada, right? Yes, she's from Victoria, which is an hour ferry ride to get there to the mainland, but she's one of ours. I've watched this girl in the Indies here. She's one of the most consistent women in the business from TNA to Lucha Underground, which I think she's completely underrated for.
Yes.
Right? Her little cameos that she's made in WWE over the years, being Daniel Bryan's personal therapist, who she said had an affair with him, all that good stuff, right? People forget how much this girl's done. And I'm talking about Chelsea Green winning the interim title. Good booking, good match, right person won. If we're trying to see if she can be the champion and that's the whole reason for the interim title, which makes no sense at all, then I guess it is what it is, right? And she said something really interesting as well. She goes, everything I've ever done, there's always a problem somewhere. Something bad happens. And in this case, the Canadian airline WestJet is on strike, so none of our friends could actually be there in the crowd. They all got stuck here in Vancouver. Literally. Flight was canceled. None of her friends from Vancouver could come. And she has a whole, little army of girls here that were held back that couldn't make it to see her win.
Hey, but the beautiful thing is when you get moments like that, you can relive it over and over and over again.
But is something lost on it, Bear, because it's an interim title, though?
I don't think so. And this is the reason why.
Okay.
The reason for me is you would she have gotten this shot if it wasn't? Sometimes you have to take advantage of your situation and make the most of it. Like you said, okay, no matter if it's an interim, if it's whatever it is, you got it now. What are you gonna do with it? You
Well, this
can't
is
blame writers. You can't blame Michael Hayes. You
no,
can't blame whoever.
no.
It's your shot. make the most of it.
No, and then now it comes down to booking and producers to come up with the straight line or the line that she needs to go in. Because still, at the end of the day, she's still that frail waif, right? Like she's the one who's going to get beaten up. I mean, in a realistic world, Nia Jax will beat her 99 out of 100 times. Charlotte will beat her 99 out of 100 times, right? Are we going to get a title run where she basically wins by the skin of her teeth all the time, being pummeled? Because this girl takes bumps too, okay? Out of most of the female on that roster, she's the one who takes some of the hardest bumps, right? So there's some really interesting stuff that can potentially happen here. I only have a problem with the interim titles because, again, as everybody knows, I come from the boxing world too. And I don't appreciate interim titles at that level because at the end of the day, they mean nothing to me because the guy who has the actual title is the one who's champion and he or she is the one that you want to go after, right? An interim title is basically saying, oh, well, we need to have a title on someone in the meantime. That's the way I look at it from that side of the combat world. Okay. Wrestling.
I agree with you 100%. I just, again,
with wrestling though, Bear, that's what makes the storyline work. Rhea relinquishes the title. Okay. Becky relinquished the title when she was pregnant and handed it to Asuka. Okay, there wasn't a match; he just got the belt. But I mean, the money in the ladder and the Money in the Bank match was for the title that we found out after. Okay, it wasn't the contract; it was the actual title. Naomi relinquished the belt. Okay, but she has a storyline to come back to. I never lost.
Yep.
Right. I'd rather see Rhea come back and say, I never lost. But who's to say that Chelsea's going to be champion at that time?
Exactly. And it goes back to what I've said before. It's the consistency. When you don't have consistent storytelling with the same title, somebody gets hurt, they can't defend, you strip them.
Yeah.
So why is Rhea getting this love that they're not going to strip her and can't defend?
Because I think Rhea still is probably one of the biggest draws in the company in the female side.
Yeah.
And maybe, but again, this is the thing, Bear. We're talking about it from the angles and perspectives that we're saying. We don't really know what they have planned yet.
Yeah, no, and maybe whatever they had planned may be the greatest thing ever. It may.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and I said this morning to Chance as well. Go ahead.
But just my whole point of it is be consistent into what you do. That's just like stripping. When they disqualify somebody for being at the ring 10 seconds, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree.
Roman and Seth went all around the damn ring. I mean, all around in the fans and stuff. They were clearly out the ring for more than 10 seconds.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And that's what I dislike about any wrestling. If you're gonna do something, stay the same course. Don't flub it. Don't change it because of who it is or what it is.
Yeah.
Just like I heard Michael Cole. Well, the ref doesn't want to throw this out because this is too important of a match. Bullshit. Follow the rules.
You would think so. It's kind of like a tag team. If you're not holding that string, and this is where the purist of me comes in, man. Whenever I see a tag team match, I don't care what show I'm watching, what brand I'm watching. If it's a tag team, I'm looking to see, even on the indies, bro, I am looking to see if that guy's holding that rope.
Exactly. Or like, look, my wife is not the biggest wrestling fan, but let me tell you the thing that irks the hell out of her. When the wrestler get in the ring and don't wipe their feet, she goes ballistic.
And I appreciate that. That's tradition, right? I mean, you respect the mat. This is very Gunther-like. You respect the mat, right? I mean, it's all of it. It's like shaking hands, all of it. It's lost on these kids, man. They don't know. They don't know.
I don't think it's not, I would not just blame it on the kids. I blame it on the teachers, because if you teach them proper etiquette all the time,
yeah,
then they have no,
I think I think the problem with the teachers of today is they come from a place where they didn't have the old school teachers, though.
Well,
We're
that's
seeing
the
that now. We're starting to see that.
well, some did, some don't. But I always put a mix of blame on both
Yeah, I know
because.
for sure, for sure.
But let's
All right,
let's move on.
let's move on. I don't want to really stay too long on this match because we
Yes.
got a lot to talk about here. Danhausen, Dominic Mysterio. Dominic looked so disconnected here. He wasn't interested in the match, but he did what he was supposed to do. Match was the match. Let's move on. Danhausen keeps his monies. Okay. Um, Chad Gable, Penta. Until the main event, I thought this was the match of the whole weekend. These guys put on a clinic, phenomenal match. If we're talking about just wrestling, these guys put on the wrestling match of the weekend. Good storyline, good feel, everything. I felt good for Chad. Everything. All right. And I'm watching this match and I'm looking at the retrospect of his career, American Alpha. Thought, okay, this is going to be really good. Then Jordan gets hurt and he goes off on his own. And who would have thought that he would have accomplished the things that he accomplished on his own, considering the fact that they gave him the gimmick Shorty G, right? Most people don't come back from Shorty G, but he persevered, he worked hard, and it all came to fruition for him at SummerSlam. He had the moment, won the Intercontinental title. Family came out. I love the fact that his little son always dresses up in the same gear when he's there ringside. And I'm talking tights and everything, man. So that was really cool. He had the same thing when he was doing the AAA stuff.
Yeah.
So, good storyline there. Great story. A lot of respect. I'll be honest, I was waiting for Penta to attack him after. I was just waiting for the shoe to fall, but it didn't. Chad Gable is your new Intercontinental Champion. Congratulations to him. And I hope he has a good run. I'll just leave it at that. Your thoughts?
Uh, the right person won. We go back to real quickly how we see stuff and it can be irritating. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah. I was okay with everything with it. I'm looking for the next chapter now.
And we'll get it as we go along here. Things are opening up and we'll see what happens here. But let's move on to, and you know what? Now I think about it more and more. This is very reminiscent to my favorite match, Undertaker, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, guest referee, Hell in the Cell, WrestleMania 28, end of an era. It looks like we just got this generation's end of an era match. Okay. We legitimately had number one and number two in the ring together. This was Attitude Era's Rock versus Austin in number one and number two. You decide who you would say was one or two. But this was legitimately an end of an era. The Shield came in and dominated and changed the game. All three members of the Shield went on their own and did their thing. And we talked about it earlier. Jon Moxley had to leave to become who he had to become. Same three men in the same company were all world champion at one point in the same night.
Yep.
Okay. The way this match, I wasn't sure what to expect. I thought this should have been a Royal or a WrestleMania match, but I'm glad I was wrong because what we saw on Raw leads me to believe we're starting to see them move in the direction of the future. How it happens, I don't know, but we'll get to that very quickly here. But this match was great. Pillar to post. The wrestling was okay. I would say the wrestling in Penta and Chad was better overall, but the storyline, the storytelling, the facial expressions, the moves themselves, these guys killed it. A lot of people are saying Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns was match of the year potential candidate. We have a lot to choose from this year, Bear.
Oh yeah.
And we're only halfway through I guess 3/4 of the year, way into the year now, right? So now
Yeah.
things are tightening up. But man, that match was phenomenal. The tributes to Dean Ambrose, the wacky rope, the dirty deeds. These guys knew what they were doing.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was that match. and I've heard it so many times. It's not about what goes on through a whole pay-per-view, it's how you leave them. They left me feeling like SummerSlam was one of those great match pay-per-views,
We haven't
PL.
seen it in a long time.
Yeah. I I love the way they ended it.
Yeah.
Everything. Let's move to the future now.
No, 100%. And let's really move to the future really quickly here for Monday Night Raw. So last night on Monday Night Raw, a few things happened, which I thought Raw was great. One of the rare times this year that I said that was awesome. Raw was good last night, man. We saw LA Knight emerge now. So, with the victory at SummerSlam, this opens the door for LA Knight. Does he win the title? I don't know, but we should get a good story here, right? And if Roman is going to be that guy that challenges everyone head on without any interference from the crew, then this should be a good program. I think we're going to get a good one. And it already started off really well. The difference between you and me, as Roman would say, is you wear a Walmart watch. Like, I wonder if Walmart was disillusioned by that comment.
And you should, I mean, honestly, you shouldn't be, because he's just saying, and I got the reference. It was perfect. He's not saying Walmart is garbage. He's just saying you're supposed to be a megastar. A megastar don't roll with Walmart. Again, this shows the level of the difference between this is how you cut a promo, kid. The mastery of Roman Reigns now.
And at the end of the day, I don't care what anybody says. Without John Cena that night, maybe we don't have this Roman.
Exactly.
Because he exposed him in front of the camera, not behind the camera. I think John gave him enough opportunity to figure his shit out before he got back and said, the only way this kid's going to learn is if I expose him in front of the world. And Roman could have gone one or two ways with that. And he went the right way and he became what we are today. Roman Reigns right now is the best wrestler in the world.
And his facial expressions always tells everything.
Dude, that's what I mean. He is the best wrestler in the world. And I'm not just talking in ring. You can argue that. I'm talking complete package.
Yes.
Physique, expression, storytelling, cadence. He's complete. He's the best.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it's funny to think that he's not, he's not prime, but man, he's better than he's ever been.
Like he said, everybody else is behind him.
He's that guy that they're going to be calling.
He takes time off. He gave y'all a chance to step up.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't?
No.
Oh, well.
He gave everyone 2 years. Okay. And the only person there that could have carried his boots was Seth.
Yep.
Like I said, 1 and 2. All right. The other thing I liked about Raw last night, we saw the return of Becky Lynch. Granted, it was in her hometown. She lives there. I'm surprised Seth didn't come out. I thought he would have, considering it was in Iowa, and that's his hometown. He is from Davenport.
I thought that was the right move.
No, it was the right move, but it would have been nice for him to come out to his home crowd, right? I get that. That's just a nostalgic guy in me for that cheap pop.
No, I get that too.
But Roman not hitting him with the chair, like I feel like the Bloodline story or the Shield storyline, that was the closure.
Yes, it was.
Okay, they may cross paths again down the road, but I really believe that Roman not hitting him with the chair was symbolic.
Yes, it was.
Okay,
he's finally let it go.
And I hate to say it, but Seth, dude, he looked like he was ready to take it.
Oh, he was.
But that's the funny part. He was all bent over. It's like, someone was going to give him the good old 1-2 in the backside. He was all clenched.
That goes back to show you his cerebral side, because he wanted it to take it, because he knew if he got hit with that chair, I'm still in his head. I got
exactly. It. But the fact that he didn't, see, that's the psychology, and that's the beauty of this match that people later on will start to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, even to this point, I've seen this match maybe 50 times. I specifically, in fact, probably later on today, I'm gonna go watch Hell in a Cell again with Taker and Hunter. Even after 50 times, Bear, I still find something I didn't see the first time.
And that's what a good match does for you.
Yeah,
You can go and, oh damn, I missed that. How I missed that? Because
exactly.
they have so much going on that
Exactly.
it's magic.
Okay. All right. So that was Raw. That was SummerSlam. Let's see what the future holds. People are shitting on Punk and KO already. My advice to you: let's just see what they do. If nothing else, we'll get great promos. Okay, we're gonna get great promos, and a lot of these promos are gonna be directed to people who know the history. Kevin Owens is a better talker than Sami Zayn.
Oh
Kevin Owens
yes.
is a better talker than Cody Rhodes. So I think we're gonna get some really cool promos here. At
Yes.
least. At least. Okay. Quickly, AEW, because we got to get going here because Mama Team the Marks, they're just salivating. Just salivating.
Yes.
So just give us a couple minutes, guys. Okay. AEW Dynamite this Wednesday is held in Mexico City, Bear. They're calling it Grand Slam Mexico City. You excited?
Yes, I am.
All
They
right. You ready? You ready for this?
go give it to me.
I don't want to give it to you, brother man, because I hate being right. I really do sometimes. Especially when it comes to AEW, because I just sound like a jackass when it comes to these guys, right?
Hey, I get it, but hey, these are our opinions. So give me your opinion, my friend.
Okay, so here's my opinion. Just give me a second here to bring it up one more time. So before we even get into anything, AEW Grand Slam Mexico 2006 start times. If you live in Vancouver, it starts at 9 p.m. on Wednesday. If you live where the bear lives, you get this at midnight, bro.
What?
Yes, I'm reading it to you right now. This is the first thing I saw because when I came to start my research, I pulled up
Right.
the card and this was the first information that I was met with. Here's a breakdown of all the start times for AEW Grand Slam Mexico. Now, remember, Mexico's 2 hours ahead of me. It's an hour ahead of you. Okay. So, Mexico City, this card doesn't start till 11 p.m. in Mexico
Okay.
on Wednesday. Tomorrow, Dynamite. Who in the blue hell is in the East Coast watching this at midnight, bro?
Well, me one,
No, no,
but
I didn't
but
include
no,
you,
no, no.
but
I understand. I definitely understand your point. And
like 9 o'clock is even late for me,
right.
right?
Uh, yeah.
Like I don't know what the basis or the logic. I don't. Cause that's why I'm trying not to shit on it so bad. Because is it be preempted for something? Is something happening on TBS that they can't air it till then? You know what I mean? Like this is seems so awkwardly stupid that you would have a big show with a bunch of matches that make no sense, and you're putting it on at a time that no one's going to watch.
I, okay. I get where you're coming from with it.
And I haven't even talked about the matches yet.
I get where you're coming with it. I think they're trying to make sure that the live crowd it's a good time for them.
What, 11 o'clock at night? What the fuck?
Well, but it's a live crowd, and look, they do this with AAA always. They start at 10.
Okay, maybe it's a Mexico thing.
Yeah, it is, and that's what I get from that. And but I understand your point of you're taking. Let's face it, anything that rotates in the purview of the United States, everybody think it has to fall into the United States timeline.
Hmm. No, no, and well,
No, no,
99% of the time, that's the case.
right, right. And that's what I'm saying. So I get where the frustration can come from where you're not used to a certain thing. But
Like,
I
Yeah,
I understand where they're going with that.
yeah. Like if there's boxing in Australia, and if it's an American name, like Errol Spence, Tim Tszyu fought a couple weeks ago. Okay. In order to give us prime time in North America, these guys are fighting Sunday morning in order for us to see it Saturday night.
right.
So I understand where you're coming from. But here, quickly, let's just look at the card here, okay? We don't need to
Yes.
give predictions or anything. We have AEW International Championship match, Kyle Fletcher, Speedball Mike Bailey. What's the storyline here? I don't know. And I'm watching AEW now, Bear. I am truly trying to watch it, okay?
Okay.
So I don't know where that comes in. Now, the next match, AEW's Trios Championship. After working with Jericho, whatever happened to this guy? Ricochet, Bishop, and Tola Leona versus Hangman, Brody King, and Bandito for the Trios Championship. Let's move on to a Mexico City street fight. This is the stupidest thing that I've heard of because of the people involved in it and how hard they go. You're putting your Wembley main event at stake, ladies and gentlemen, as far as I'm concerned. The storyline makes sense because Mark Davis and Will Ospreay have a history of being running partners in their little clique and everything. And now, they turned on each other or whatever the case may be. But Ospreay, Mark Davis in a Mexico City street fight, I don't like it. Okay. I'll pause here for this because that's one half of your main event. And the way these two guys work in this particular match, I'm afraid someone's going to get hurt. Legit.
So, okay. Mark
Hey,
Davis got a win on Will.
yeah,
They stopped the match because he was hurt. So he has a one up on Will.
sure. I get that part of the story, but it just doesn't make sense this close to the main event of.
What? But you always do. You have,
I know, but we're looking at the fragility of these two men, and they're so easily hurt.
but that's the thing, and that's the thing. You
But why now? It makes no sense. Where did this match come from? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it does. If because of he wants to revenge. He wants to get. Will's the one that chose the street fight aspect of this.
I
It
get it.
wasn't Davis. So this is Will wanting to show everybody how tough he is, what he is made of without the Death Riders,
Yeah,
without anyone on his side.
yeah.
So I get that.
All right, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Okay, let's move on here, man, because this card is long, so I don't think this thing's gonna end till like 3 o'clock in the
It's gonna
morning for
be.
you.
I was gonna say it's gonna be at
But it's gonna
least
be
a
interesting to see what he
two
does
and a
because they
half.
have TV commercials here. Can he keep it under 2 hours? Right? This is on
No, it's
TV.
gonna go. It's gonna go about 2.5.
Okay. Open cage. The Young Bucks against the Death Riders. Moxley, Pack, Yuta, and Garcia. All right. Then we got another trios match here. Willow Nightingale, Jamie Hayter, Alex Windsor against Mercedes, Megan, and Lena Cross. Megan Bain. Okay, fair play. They're trying to build it up for Willow and Mercedes at Wembley. And the others are
Yep.
just there. Another trios match. How many trios matches are we getting in the show, man? Another trios match. Okada, Kevin Knight, Henshiro,
Hector Cero,
Henshiro.
the
Thank you.
the
Jericho.
CMLL World Champion.
There you go. Okay. So those three against Jericho, Darby Allin, and Mystical. When did Darby Allin and Chris Jericho get together and say we're a team?
It's a throw together.
Okay. That's all we needed to hear. The one match that I'm looking forward to on this entire card. Three-way match. Winner gets number one spot in the Casino Gauntlet match at All In. Andrade, Tomasa, and Commander. Looking forward to this match. This one should be good.
So basically, pretty much all the matches are Mexican style matches.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. If
I
we're looking at it from that perspective.
truthfully, I don't have a problem with any of the card. Um, they always adjust to the Mexican style.
True enough. True enough. True enough. I get that completely, brother. I get that completely, but still, I have to shit on it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And then finally, and again, I don't know what order this is in or whatever the case may be, but we get Chris Statlander against CMLL's women's champion
Persephone.
Persephone.
So really quickly,
Mm,
it's amazing thing how each company will talk about how they're not using talent and they're shitting on them. And if we had them, they'd be so much better.
mm.
I crack up every time I hear people say that because everybody think they can use talent better than the other, and then you have 7, 8 people who get shit on that's just as good, if not better than the talent you saying the other company is wasting,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you shut the fuck up.
There you go, man. You heard it straight from the professor himself, ladies and gentlemen. He is telling everyone to shut the fuck up. Right? There you go. Sorry, man. I keep using that my cousin Vinny reference,
Right.
the prosecutor lawyer. I just he right. You know what I mean? Like it was clean. It was good. All right, Professor. Listen, we've talked AEW, we've talked WWE with SummerSlam to nauseum. We've gone way past any time frame that we normally keep nowadays, but this was a special show, and I think we needed this psychologically as much as the people who are going to watch this. Okay,
Oh yeah. Yes.
but let me close on this. Okay, we're going to talk about EC3. He was recently here in Abbotsford, where I usually do my work. It's in the Valley. He was participating with All Star Wrestling, and everyone kept, referring to this video of him limping and with the big belly and this and that. Well, EC3 is just fine, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing is wrong with him. He's completely good. If anything, the man was pulling a Seth Rollins and selling the hip. We got to keep in mind that he'd already wrestled once that day for an earlier show in the same company. So he was the second match in. He'd come in early in the morning, all right, jet lag. He'd been doing seminars with talent and people there as well. That was a part of the gig. Now, keep in mind, the wrestling company didn't bring him in. The city of Abbotsford actually paid for him to come. All right. So this guy's been working on a crazy schedule, really tired, seminars, matches, meet and greets, doing everything he's supposed to do. He was just burnt out. Now, in terms of the belly, if anybody knows anything about steroids, that's a steroid belly, people. No, that's legit what it is. That's a steroid belly. Okay. That's what happens before you start taking the Winstrol, the Kombutrol, which are your cutters. So in the world of professional bodybuilding or people who take steroids, in order to get their mass and size and everything, they go through cycles of D-ball and T-ball. Why do I know so much about this? Don't ask. Okay. But I just know the industry. I love bodybuilding as well. Okay. I am a huge bodybuilding fan. My favorite bodybuilder was Dorian Yates. Look him up. He was the last of a generation that kept everything in a notebook. Most bodybuilders today have a team of 15 people around them. One guy tells them what to lift, how to lift. Another guy's there to tell them what to eat and how to eat it and when to eat it and this and that. Another person to tell them to do this. Well, Dorian, Arnold, and all those guys came from a time where they had to figure it out on their own. So when I say Dorian Yates is my hero when it comes to lifting weights, it's because of his technique and the way he did stuff, okay? When you build mass and bulk, you take those drugs. Then the week out of the competition, these guys will switch over to Winstrol and Kombutrol, which are leaners. They basically take all the water out and lean you out. So that belly would have disappeared if he was on that type of cycle. So that's a steroid belly. The hip is fine. He was just tired. Everything's okay with EC3.
Well, and I would say this, that goes back to being able to sell. That is it's a sell and not knowing facts.
Well, that's
And
it.
that's what we as wrestling fans, we are always jumping to conclusion before we know things.
But in this light as well, and I said it earlier this morning as well on the other show with Chance. Make sure to go check that out as well, Samp and Chance. When we've seen what happened with Scott Hall, when we saw what happened with Sabu, hell, when we saw what we saw with Jeff Hardy at TNA, it's not wrong for people to think the worst because we've already seen it.
No, again, and I agree with you. It's okay to think the worst, but sometimes, like, and I have to say this like this, as I've learned growing up and my parents raising me. Just because you think it don't mean you have to say it. Sometimes you keep shit inside and don't say it, and just learn your facts before you put yourself out there. And that's what we don't do anymore. We always, oh, well, this is my opinion, I can say it. Well, sometimes you don't have to say your opinion. Sometimes you can keep your opinions to yourself before you find out the entire facts before you make yourself look like an idiot.
And shout out to All Star Wrestling here locally in the Vancouver area. One of two of the three bigger promotions that are out here in Vancouver. Shout out to Thunder Driven Thunder, all the crew down there. They knew what they were doing. Because I know for a fact, man, I can tell you this because I know Thunder, I know him, but I don't know him, to be completely honest, but I know him. I know that he would never allowed him to be a part of the show if he was legitimately hurt or not in the right mindset or chemically induced, is in the nice way of saying it. So everything's good there, man. So shout out to All Star, shout out to EC3, and shout out to the people who were concerned. That shows that people still care. Let's look at it from that side too.
Yeah.
All right. We've got everything in the bag. Looking forward. Well, I feel bad for you, man, having to get up at midnight to watch AEW, but it is what it is. So just remember, if you guys are tuning in with your bowl of popcorn, your bag of chips, it doesn't start at your regular time. East Coast, 12 o'clock, West Coast, 9 p.m. I don't know what is being preempted for, if anything. I'm not sure, but I think you're right, Bear. It kind of goes into the wheelhouse of the Mexican crowd and what time they start shit down there. I didn't realize they started stuff so late. Anyways, all that being said, I am Bobby Sampson.
I am Professor Burr.
Yes, he is. We are Professor on the Snap. Thank you so much for joining us and tuning in. Guys, we'll be back next week to break down everything that's happening in the world of professional wrestling, the top headlines, everything else in between. And remember, somebody call your mama. Professor and the Snap are out.
They're Professor and the Samp, yes, Professor and the Samp. One's a historian, the other loves to chant. They talk about the fights, all the slams and lights. It's wrestling mayhem day and night. They're Professor and the Samp, yes, Professor and the Samp. Their takes are quite insane, the wrestling world's their game. They break it down, they call it out. From AEW to SmackDown.